Good afternoon and welcome to M.M.E. I'm your host, Blind Prime. For today, we're going to be talking about Transformers Legacy United Sideburn in their robot mode. Here at Blind_Prime, we like to cover each individual mode of a Transformer separately. That way, I can do the best in-depth review that I possibly can on each individual mode, because personally speaking, here at Blind_Prime, I believe that each mode of a Transformer is, in fact, its own unique toy. And this is including the transformation. I do count the transformation as a separate mode. A separate mode, not a separate. What in the world is a separate? Losing track of my tongue today at Blind_Prime. I've got Kream the cat sleeping here. What are you up to, Kream? You napping? You napping? He's always napping. He's an always napping guy. Yes, he is. All right, so we got Kream here. We got Sideburn here. Now, I wanted to start this off by talking about Sideburn's accessories and weapons, and before I get into it, I would like to tell you something I heard today. So, I came across this video today explaining things to, Generation Z and Generation Alpha that millennials already knew, and what it was explaining was the game. The rules about the game, which is, once you know the game exists, you have lost the game. Once you remember the game, you have lost the game. And you can't lose the game for like an hour after you've lost the game once. You have to have enough time to forget about the game before losing the game again. All right? And losing the game is losing the game. That's it. You just thought about it, you lost it. All right? So go out there and lose the game. Get others to lose the game. It's exciting when you're standing in line in an amusement park and you just scream out, "I lost the game," to listen to see how many other people go, "Son of a, I lost the game." It's a lot of fun. And I recommend it. It makes you some friends. It makes you some enemies. It just gets society rolling. That's what it does. So that is just a fun meme that we've been doing since the early 2000s, and I am happy to bring in the next generations to it. Let's keep this alive. So let's get into Sideburn now for the initial review. Yeah, I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. Okay, I like his laser sword. I think now it was supposed to be some sort of baton or something, but it had a blast effect at the top of it. So I was like, why not? I mean, not a blast effect. It had a siege port. So I was like, why not just have it a very long-handled lightsaber? There we go. And now you can kind of get his other hand in there. Let's see. We'll just rotate that around. Close that arm just a bit, and then yeah, he won't be able to actually pretend he's holding it with two hands. Though you can kind of get it that way, like that. If you use the shield to hide the fact that his hand's not holding it, you can kind of get away with the fact it looks like he's holding it with two hands. But that's neat. You can do that. Now, another neat thing about this gun is that this gun locks into place. So it's got a little iron sight on it, and if you don't pull it... Nah, just set that there. Everything just fell apart. So if you don't pull the gun out the right way, then you're not going to be able to pull the gun out at all. It locks into place. It's got a little iron sight there, and since its hands are kind of open like C-clamps, that little iron sight flips, goes between the thumb and forefingers, and then you can spin it and lock it into place. Now it's not moving, and now you can pull it back out. Isn't that neat? Another weapon that another accessory. Sorry, Kream's hair's now gotten into places. This bumper is his other accessory that he comes with. It can go on his forearm to act as extra armor for him, or you can plug it into the gun itself, and now it acts as a special gun of his called the Bumper Buster or something like that. It's really neat, but sadly, its blast effect abilities are subpar. Yeah, we're going to take this blast effect we just plugged into the other gun, and we're going to try and plug it in there. And though it gets in there, it doesn't sit in there. Like, look, I push it in, and it doesn't want to stay. It is kind of sad that that's the case, but that's the case. The bumper, it feels nice. It acts as a forearm armor, and he can hold it in his hand if he just wants to, offer somebody a bumper treat, or you can spin it sideways, and then you can put, you can act as this as some sort of tray where you can put things on it, or you can put the gun on it. Yeah. Let's rotate that gun around. Go in there. Yeah, there we go. Now, he's holding the gun on a tray. Isn't that neat? Okay, so that's the gun. That's that. It's a lot of fun. I like the fact it can become a laser sword. No one's really talked about that, but I like the laser sword. I think it's supposed to be a baton, but laser swords are cooler. Now, in his other arm, he's got this fun shield, which is the entire top of the Dodge Viper. You know, front window, roof of car, back window, side windows for the car, even the darn rear view mirrors are there. It's wild how much of the top of the car is there. But unlike Cliffjumper and Bumblebee, you actually don't need to remove this from his arm during the transformation. You can just keep it there and it will work. So I don't really count it as parts forming because you don't need to parts form it. You just need to keep it there. But you can take it off if you don't want him to have something on his arm. So that's really cool. It's unlike Scourge from Studio Series, where he's got that stupid sword that you can't do anything with, but just kind of have it there because you can never take it off. This guy can take his shield off, and that's really nice. The interior of the shield's got some really amazing sculpt work in there. I love the crisscross beams to try and keep the stability of this thing down. I like that. I like the textures in there. It's really nice. It's got a bar hinge, and the peg is on its own unique hinge, which does make it difficult for you. You have to pinch it between thumb and forefinger, the end of the hinge there, and then raise this guy's arm up. So this is how you do it. It's almost like a surgery to do this correctly because of how wiggly this darn point is there. But you can get that out, and then you can stick that in there with thumb and forefinger, and there you go. And the shield, of course, can fold to the front, and because it's got so many hinges in it, it can fold to the back, it can fold out there, it can squeeze in tight, it can do a few things. And that's pretty cool. I like the shield. I think that's one of the more versatile shields we've ever experienced in Transformers, and I am completely down for that. Now, let's start talking about the sculpt work and the siege ports and all the other stuff. So articulation-wise, we'll cover that first. 90-degree elbows, 90-degree knees. I like the fact the knees have a point in them where they can actually lock. That will help out the stability of your knee joint and keep this knee joint lasting longer. If you pose him with his knees locked into place, then there's less wear and tear on the actual joint itself. His feet also lock in place, which is really nice because they fold forwards. And frankly, I'm tired of those figures that fold forward, that have feet that fold forwards. The feet don't lock. So eventually, you'll show up at your place, and let me unlock both feet so I can do this example correctly. But you'll show up back home after work or something, and you'll find him like this. You'll find a Transformer flat face down on the ground with both of the feet still connected to the ground because those joints finally gave way. But here, that's not the case because they lock into place, which means that these joints are sturdier and more stable. He's, of course, got some amazing ankle tilt. Like, the ankle tilt on this guy, I'm going to raise up the back panels of him to showcase this and raise his hands up a bit. We'll actually raise his arms up all the way to the sky. Yeah! And you'll fold out his legs, and then you fold down the feet. And this guy is doing the biggest split that I think any Transformer's done. I tried this with other Transformers. Nobody's got the hinges in the feet necessary to accomplish this. And of course, you can lock the legs down too, so you can just kind of have him sitting there. And I think that's really fun for a Hot Shot lookalike or a Hot Rod lookalike to actually be able to do the splits and be a very gymnastic fellow, a very articulate fellow. That's really cool. Now, let's go up and talk about his hips. We just talked about that. They do spin 360 degrees. He's got that rotation going down. He's got the, he doesn't have 360-degree rotation with his shoulders, but he can raise them up 180 degrees, unlike the 90 that most Transformers have, though it's 90-degree elbows and spinning hands. His head is on a ball joint, though, so that's a big bonus. And there's also a bicep swivel. So there's a pretty decent amount of joints going on this guy. This guy is really well articulated for such a small for a figure like this. This is nice. I like it. Coming up to the head, he's got a ball joint in his head. He can look down, he can look up, he can look left, he can look right, and he can kind of move his head back and forth a little bit, but not by much. I don't know, wait, no, it's not a ball joint. It's actually just a regular hinge joint with a swivel, so that you can spin that head around. So it can look back, it can look forwards, and then swivel around. No cracking head left and right, sadly. Now, let's go to the sculpt work for this guy. Yeah, the sculpt work. Now, we'll start from the feet, and we'll go all the way up the body. We always start from the feet. Now, the underside of the feet have some really amazing textures to them. No waffling or hollowness whatsoever, except in those siege ports. And he's got, excuse me, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right between the backs of, right between these two wings on his back. 6 right behind his head. 7 and 8 on his forearms. 9 and 10 on his hands. That's 10 siege ports for a character so far removed from siege that I am just ecstatic that we got this many with him. We usually also would get shoulder siege ports, but that is not the case with this guy. But it's okay. I like the shoulder movement we get instead. Um, Something else that I forgot to mention while we're still talking about this stuff and siege ports and things. Let me pull this gun off. Now, his gun that he came with has a tiny post on it. And you're like, where does that tiny post go? I looked everywhere. I figured it out. If you go to the leg here, you go to this wheel, that peg thing that holds the wheel in place actually is the right size for that post to fit in, and then that just hangs on the side of his leg like it's a leg holster. So it's a thigh holster. I just wanted to showcase that in case you didn't know. Now let's get into the textures. We were talking about that. I just covered siege ports, so the bottom of his feet is well textured, and I love that. The top of his feet have some vent action going on, but really just feel like some epic robot textures going on right there. His legs come up here, really amazing, just Cybertronian robot feel to them. Some sci-fi textures going on there, but not much kibble. I like the fact that his lower legs and feet don't have any sort of car kibble at all, and we don't get that very often in Transformers. They usually give them booties or something that have a bunch of car kibble, but that's not the case with this guy. Coming up here to the thigh, we've got some really amazing sculpt work on the inner thigh and the top of the thigh, and the back of the thigh has also got some good sculpt work, and the side of the thigh has a wheel and a part of the wheel well for the vehicle mode. Really well done all there. And I like the knee. The knee is just this rounded bit, but of course, it locks into place. It's a good knee. Now on the back of the leg, we also have those siege ports on the lower leg, but there's no waffling around there. That's it. The siege ports are the only waffling that's occurring there. Really, really good stuff. Now his groin area here is actually the front grille of the Viper vehicle, the Dodge Viper, which is just the unique way of doing that, and so I give it props for that. I did not have the original mold made of this guy, so this is my first time experiencing this mold. Now coming up here to the chest area, we've got an amazingly huge engine with 8 cylinders. Like, this is a Hemi. This is a good engine. This guy goes crazy fast. He go fast. Coming up here on the sides, we've got some really good sci-fi textures going on for the shoulder. We've got some good sci-fi textures going on for, robot textures for the arm here. Now, the upper arm is lacking on some textures, and that's the only part of this body that lacks any sort of texture. Is that upper arm swivel area. No texture really there. That's it. Coming down here to the other arm, we've got some really nice textures for the hands. I like this increased armor for the forearm. Well, at least it feels like it's increased armor with how they did the textures there. It's good. Okay, in the back, he's got the 2 flat doors that go down. And it's so smooth and sleek. Coming up here to his head, he's got an asymmetrical head because he's got a darn Dragon Ball Z scouter over his left eye, and then his right eye is just sunken in because it doesn't have a scouter over it. And then he's got a face down there with some sort of mouth. I can't figure out if that's if he's got a grill mouth or if he's actually got lips. Let me know in the comments below. Does this guy got a lips, or does he have one of those shields, but it's like a grill? I'm not exactly sure. But I did want to point this out, and I felt this on his head. He has actual sideburns coming down from the sides of his head on each side. So Sideburn does have sideburns, and how cool is that? This is a really cool figure. This is a really fun figure. This is a surprise. I was not expecting this figure to be this much fun, but it is. And my overall rating for the robot mode of this character, with the accessories and his articulation and the sculpt work and the design, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I like him. I like him a lot. I recommend him to you. So that's, it's a good robot overall. And I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. I've been Blind Prime. This has been Kream the Cat, who likes to nap. Who's a sleepy guy. You're a sleepy guy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Sleepy cat. And I hope all of you out there have a great, wonderful day. And I will be back here tomorrow to teach you how to transform Sideburn from robot mode to vehicle mode. So until next Prime, bye-bye for now.